everyone, welcome to my Jardin au coin. I'm Erica. Got the tank top on today, so serious business. Well, I was deep into cleaning out the weeds in this allium bed when I realized that I don't think I ever posted us planting the leeks and the onions, but so just a forewarning, it'll probably be in here. Like I said in the last video, or I at least typed in the bottom there, that I have a ton of videos that I just never posted because just random things. My daughter graduated high school. There's like a bunch going on. So I am so behind. So you guys will probably be spammed with all these new videos. So lots of stuff to watch if you're bored. So but anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and show you. So this is a pretty good representation of what the let me actually turn this around, sorry. Okay, so right here is a pretty good representation of what the whole bed looks like as far as the grass and everything. I will say, I don't know, some of you might remember that right here on this bed, along the edges here, I had saffron bulbs, or I guess the bulbs are still there, but I hired my neighbor or ex-neighbor to come and weed eat and mow for me, and I told him to weed eat on the outside of the beds, but he went inside and basically just took out all of my the tops of my saffron. So we'll see if it comes back. I intend on ordering some more this year because I really liked them, and I'm gonna like probably put them somewhere where they'll just all be together and happy and everything. So, but maybe hopefully they'll come back. Then in here, I planted some Kajari melons over here, cuckoo melons there. This was all after we did the onions and leeks. Then, oh yeah, here's some Kajari melon up here on the green stalk too. It's doing pretty well, so we're excited. But this little beast here, big beast, is a volunteer tomato, and I know I have it in the video, I have to, that it just popped up and I just let it do its thing. The other day it was like all sprawled out all over the place, so I am using a tomato cage from last year, and if you can see, I put string around it too to kind of like, I mean, I couldn't get all of its arms in there, so I just did that. You know, it was like that on the ground, growing like that vigorously, so I'm not going to really prune it. I think I accidentally broke one of the arms doing that, and so like that's pretty much the extent of the pruning that I'm doing, because I'm like, well, if you're wanting to grow, we'll see how well you do all on your own without any kind of, or at least without too much intervention on cleanup and stuff like that. So anyway, then I had some leftover cabbages that I was needing an area to plant them in. Just kind of stuck them there because, you know, I didn't know what else to do with them. They were pretty pest eaten. I'm gonna pick up this little gross thing, put him somewhere else. Maybe toss him over the fence or something. Just a shell of whatever, probably a June bug shell or something. But anyway, you can see the cuckoo melons a little better. Also, there they are on the other side. Aren't they gorgeous and precious? So because of the weeds and just like other factors, and also probably just they're getting, you know, ready, some of these onions have fallen over. So I've been harvesting them. I have some of them over here on the chair. So yeah, you can see, like, I don't know who has time to do all of the work all of the time. We do our best. But yeah, so I've just been kind of like harvesting some of these. I'll show you, also my little garden troll planted these red tomatoes. I think she planted all of them except for these guys. I planted all of those. I can't remember if she planted these. Maybe she did on this end too, but anyway, so some of them are a little close, but I mean, they still did okay. Like there's 3 of them right here. So let's go ahead and, I mean, they're small, but I bet they have really good flavor, really strong flavor. I might leave that one because he looks pretty tiny. Okay, well, see, I hesitate because he has a yellowing leaf, dead leaf right there, and he's like over. Although I wonder if part of it was because I accidentally stepped on it. Let's see, we'll just, yeah, it's not letting me. Oh, it's not too bad actually. And also I'll go ahead and tell you what we did. We just basically added some more topsoil to this from last year, because last year we had tomatoes in here, and cuckoo melons on this side here. There was like the homely homer tomato. I mean, it was like all these tomatoes in this bed, and I believe I had some kind of watermelon there. I did have like a little baby, like icebox doll baby or something like that, watermelon there. So just kind of changing up a little bit, still doing the melons over there because, you know, why not? But I think once I pull up some of these onions, I'm gonna put some of these tomatoes that are like over here in these little trays that I have. Probably the little Paul Robeson and some Brads, because, oh, and then we have some evil olives there. But with the evil olives and all of those, I think I might just put a couple more tomatoes in here. I know I don't need any more tomatoes because I have like 20 something over there, but I want them all to live because they grew. So, and I can always give away a bunch. I know I'm going to be giving away. I've already received requests for cherry tomatoes, so they're going to be going to good homes and in good tummies. So, but yeah, I'm just going to continue to harvest these down here, these onions, and then just try to do my best as far as pulling up these weeds and things like that, to just make it better. And I'm sure we'll be harvesting these leeks soon because some of them look pretty good sized. I did have some yellow, I keep calling them tomatoes, yellow onions. And one of them got pulled up a minute ago, and it was just very tiny. So maybe you guys know this. I'm not, well, that didn't work. There's this grass that's in here. It's not that one. I'm not sure if there are any left actually, but I'm not 100% convinced that it wasn't a type of onion. It kind of looks like this, but it was whiter, and whenever I smell it, it smells like pine almost. So my thoughts are that it was my little like a bunching onion or something, and that it just was in there too long. But I don't know. Maybe you guys know. So okay, well, I think I'm gonna get back to it. One thing that I was going to point out, somehow I'm in cinematic mode, but I have my gloves on because the weeds hurt my hands if I don't do it. So I'm just leaving it on cinematic mode. One thing I wanted to say is, so the red onions that I pulled out a few minutes ago, they were little slips. They kind of looked puny, like, or not puny, but they just looked dried up, kind of like this. And I dropped them in, or the little troll did that, dropped them in. But the rest of these, so those are called seed onions. And I guess you could call the leeks seed leeks maybe too, because sometimes you put them in like that. But all these leeks, all these other onions. I planted, I started a seed in the late winter and planted them in there. These, I think this is actually like supposed to be this small, but I accidentally pulled it out whenever I was pulling some weeds. So it's a little bit of a bummer because maybe it was supposed to be a white onion, but that's okay. It'll still eat. But you can see down here, there's some good things going in the midst of all these weeds here. So I think like this side over are all leeks, and excuse me, I just ate an onion, just so you know. Dragon breath. Straight out of the garden. It was a small one. But I think those 2 rows over there are also leeks, but yeah. So, but the rest of them are onions, kind of like in the middle here. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to point that out. I also wanted to say too that this crazy tomato plant, that if it, let's see if it'll focus on it. If it, you know, I said I wasn't going to prune it or anything, or intervene on any of the pruning, because I want it to do what it's going to do, but I will. There is a caveat to that. If it starts interfering with these Kajari melons or the cuckoo melons that are over there, I definitely am going to like prune it up, because I don't want them to suffer just because the volunteer. So that was kind of like the little fine print of the volunteer tomato. This is the portion of the video where I go back in time. Okay, so it is onion time, which I'm a little bit late on this one as well, but we're doing it anyway. So this bed we had tomatoes in at the end of the year, but at the beginning of the year we did have onions of last year. Onions, I believe some garlic, I'll have to look again, but definitely some leeks. The leeks at fall did not do what we wanted them to do, but that's all right. And then this is the saffron. I'm just gonna leave it there and let them have their fun still. So what we did is we cleaned this bed up. It wasn't too bad. We cleaned it up, and then I added just a little bit of compost and some more topsoil, just to kind of refresh it. And then I moved around, watered it and everything like that. So these are some red onions that I picked up from Southwoods, which is our local nursery that we like to go to, as you can see. So it's a sweet red. And what I am doing is I'm going to just kind of like get my little dibbler here. I've been kind of breaking up some of this dirt because it's still kind of clumping up, but it's pretty easy to move around though. So anyway, so I'm just kind of going to alternate them. So this one I started here, and then I'm going to bring this one over here, so they'll get, you know, they have the ability to get a little bigger. We're going to try out some potatoes over here, so that's why I have this section kind of open. So anyway, so I get my little dibbler here where I want to put the onion, and I just kind of go down a little bit, and then you can kind of see there's those things do pretty well. I'm just dropping it in there, and then I'm gonna put a little soil in there to keep him nice and tight. So then I'm just gonna go down there, and we're gonna do this whole row of at least 2 of them per spot there. I may end up having to do another row of them, but we'll see. And then I have some that I have planted, or that I started on my, started from seeds that are like the white globe onions and things like that. So we're gonna continue getting these in the ground, so maybe we'll have some onions late in the season. So today I am planting the onions. These are leeks here in these 8 cells, but in these they were the little onions. I have Southport, Globe White, Red Burgundy, Texas Early, and Italian Stallion. So the Italian Stallions are what's left that my daughter planted a few weeks ago. They're red onions, but these here are ones that I started from seeds. So you can see that I already planted the Southport Globe White, Red Burgundy, and Texas Earlies. So I just kind of did them in a row here of each of them, and just kind of did them a few, you know, about a fit. It just kind of depended on how many little seedlings I had of them. And the ground is a little dry. I watered it this morning, but it's so windy here today that it just, you know, just dried it up really fast. So I'm gonna water them again before I let them rest for the night, and then just like water them every day, probably twice a day for quite a while. And then I may even put straw over them to keep them mulched and keep them nice and keep them moist down in the ground. I'll go ahead and show you how I separate these onions with the Italian scallions. So I just have them like this. I forgot to put my glove on, but I just kind of very gently separate them from their roots. Kind of manipulate it a little bit there, and then get them out. Just like that. And then whenever I'm planting them, I find where I want to do them, and then I just get my little dibbler. I make a little hole, and then like that, and then I stick them in there, which that one's not working out. Everything's crashing down, but I need to put the phone down so I can do it easier. Okay, so I used the old Kimmy dibbler, and I made holes, and then I laid my little seedlings down. And then what I'll do now is I'll put them in there, and then I will cover them up with the soil, and I'll just repeat this throughout, so that way they get nice and tucked in there. Make sure all the little roots get in there. It's kind of difficult because some of the roots stay in the soil, so I have to make sure that they're not attached there. So sometimes I'll sprinkle that on there with it since it's dry. And this isn't part of the root. This is actually part of this little guy. I think it was the first, like what I guess you would consider a first leaf, and then this would be the true leaf, maybe. Oh goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to get Kimmy Dibbler back over here. Few more. It looks like I got two of these together, so I'll have to make another hole there, but we will keep them going. I also wanted to show you guys, this is the bed that we had the tomatoes in last year, and I think this might be a volunteer tomato, so we will see. I'm gonna leave it. It's still gonna be a little cold here and there, but I'm definitely gonna leave him and see what he does. See if it turns into a tomato. Okay, so these are French baby leeks. And with leeks, whenever I plant them down, I have been doing it just a little bit over, we try to do it a little bit over the white area here. The further up that you do is the longer the white spot will be. So I'll probably do it up here, probably like right there, where that, close to where just a little bit of that extra little leaf green will be. So that maybe when these start getting bigger, we'll have quite a bit of white area to work with. So you do it basically the same way I was doing these onions, and then yeah, just go from there. And these are all in the Allium family, and yeah, kind of like garlic also, things like that. Well, I was editing the video. We're back into the present now. So I was editing the video and realized that I never said goodbye. So this is how far I got on them. As you can tell, it's starting to still looking pretty bad, but it's a lot better. So yeah, anyway, so I guess I'll show you at the end of this. I'll show you a picture of the onions that I harvested. I braided them and hung them up, and then I put some of them in my little onion pot thing. So okay, well, you guys have a good day, and happy onion weeding and harvesting.